Hello everyone. This is a basic tuning for your sympathetic strings for your Dilruba or your Esraj or your Tarshanai. It's a really basic tuning. And one thing I'd like to point out is that there are no rules on how to tune your sympathetic strings. There are many different types of rags or different scales you'll be playing. Maybe if you're playing outside of the Indian classical music and you're playing in some type of mode or scale, and you have certain notes that you really want to emphasize, you want to be more resonant coming from your instrument, then you would double some of those strings up, and that's really a preference thing. So that's kind of why there are no rules. But this is a really good place to start off with, this tuning chart. And then, in the future, I'm going to be putting up more charts like this for different rags, just to make it easier for you. So let's start off first with the sympathetic strings that run along the side. And so for me, I have a Dilruba, so I have 16. Sometimes the sympathetic strings differ from instrument to instrument, especially from Dilruba to Esraj. My Esraj, for instance, only has 14 sympathetic strings in the side. So what do you do when you have less than 16? Well, if you can see on this chart, there's several notes that are doubled up. For instance, you have 2 pas and you have 2 sas. So you would just choose one of those and not double them up, and that kind of solves your problem. So it's quite easy. Okay, so starting off with the lower octave. Generally, I tune from the lower octave and I work my way up, but I guess you could do it from the top and go down as well. If you're going to do it that way, this is one thing that you can keep in mind if you're going to follow this basic tuning, is that your last fret on your Dilruba really should be a ga. Okay, so your fret ga, re, and then you kind of go down. So that's one way you can remember. This last sympathetic string can be tuned to the last fret, which would be ga. Then you go down, ga, re, sa, ni, pretty straightforward. Da, pa, ma, ga, re, sa, ni, da, pa, ma. Okay, so let's just say, for instance, you were playing a song that had more of the ga in it. So maybe and ma was not so important, maybe double up that ga. Okay, so you would have double up ga, and then like maybe you wouldn't need ma, so that'd be a perfect spot to do something like that. So this is really flexible. It just depends on what you need. So one other point that's important is you have to keep in mind that these strings, they do have a threshold of tension. So if you go past that, you're going to break the string. So one way that you can kind of tell is when a string is really tight and it's about to break, it starts to become less resonant. And one thing you can do is always kind of, if you're not sure and you're feeling like, oh, this might be a little bit too tight for the string, pick it with your fingernail, like actually pluck it and see if how it sounds. If it sounds like it's really tense, it has a really kind of harsh or like a brash sound to it, then you should probably back off and maybe go down to the next note below it. That just comes in experience. You're gonna probably break some strings, but like that's how you learn. So, but for this is pretty standard, so you shouldn't have any problems. Okay, so let's go to the sympathetic strings on the head of the instrument. Okay, so for the sympathetic strings on the head, it's very straightforward. Starting at the top, you have ga, ma, pa, da. Okay, now if you also look on the sides, I did put in red, I put for the main playing string, it's ma, and then you have sa, the 2 drones, to sa, and then the last string closer to you would be pa. So that's pretty much it. And just keep checking up. I'll be putting some more charts for you guys later on different rags, just to make things a little bit faster. And then of course, as you start tuning your instrument more and you do these different variations, you're just going to get better, and you're going to be even quicker and kind of making your own little tweaks and things like that. So I hope this helps. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. If there's any comments you'd like to share, anything, breakthroughs or suggestions, I'd really appreciate it. Take care, guys.